Criminals will be recognized by their foreheads. Make sense now? Makes sense why now? You don't even have to ask. فَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاصِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ Then he will be taken. The person will be taken by the forehead and the feet. Alusi's commentary on this is brilliant. He says these are the people who insisted upon acting like animals. They will only believe when they see. And the Arabs used to roast animals. They didn't cut it up and make it into small pieces of botis and then put it in like the packets and sell it in stores. How did they cook the animal? They cut the thing, skin it. Some people grab the head, some people grab the feet. They tie it to a log of wood, barbecue time. Open flame. That's how they did it. So when you describe to the Arab somebody's being grabbed by the head and the feet, what's he thinking? An animal being roasted. Allah is basically saying, you wanted to act like an animal, I'll only believe when I see. So you denied your humanity, fine, you get treated like one. Time for the barbecue. وَيُؤْخَذُ بِالنَّوَاصِي وَالْأَقْدَامِ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ هَذِهِ جَهَنَّمْ This is Jahannam, one that criminals have been lying against. This, by the way, takdeeb so far was of favors of Allah. فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ Now, يُكَذِّبُ بِهَا mean بِجَهَنَّمَ الْمُجْرِمُونَ You're not just denying Allah's favors, you're denying hellfire. And that's the other thing, when someone lives a life of luxury. When someone is self-indulged. And they say, I don't like the idea of discomfort. Why should I turn to a God that has the door to discomfort open? Hellfire. I don't like it. I've accustomed to becoming a consumer. I've accustomed myself to becoming a consumer. And a consumer only buys the product that he or she likes. Well, ain't nobody like hellfire. So I don't like this Islam business because it talks about hell. If you gave me a religion that talks about things I like, maybe I'd find it more acceptable. Maybe you shouldn't talk about hellfire. This God, why does he talk about hell? I don't like it. You see, when you say, I don't like it, you're the customer and you're trying to make me sell you a product. The truth isn't a sale. The truth is the truth. Whether you like it or not, it's there. And Allah Himself said in Quran, فَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيُؤْمِنْ وَمَنْ شَاءَ فَلْيَكْفُرْ Whoever wants, they can believe. Whoever wants, they can disbelieve. Remember what I told that young lady? I'll be burned in hell. She says, how could you say something like that? And I said, well, why are you bothered by that? To you, hell doesn't exist. Oh, it does exist to you. You just don't like it. That's what the truth of it is. You just don't want to accept it exists. Look, whether you like it or not, it's there. It's, you can hate the flood that's coming, New Orleans. You can hate the earthquake. You can hate the weather, bad weather, the tornado that's heading this way. You may not like it, but not liking it will not change the fact that it's coming. It is coming. You have to deal with it. That is reality. As harsh as it may seem, it's the reality. And Allah says criminals are the ones that are in denial of it, because if you accept hellfire, then you have to change your behavior. And criminals don't want to change their behavior. I don't want to, it's not so much hell. I mean, I don't mind saving myself from hell, but give me a version of religion in which I don't have to make any major modifications to my lifestyle, and I still don't have to worry about hell. Make it easy for me. You're going to be going in circles in Jahannam. Taf also means to end up where you started. Because when you go in a circle, you end up where you started. So on the one hand, they'll be in fire. The fire gets too much, at a distance they see water. They come running to it and find out that it's hamim. Hamim means boiling water. And then the word an on top of that. An is actually, literally means now. The word an means now. When you boil water, when it starts boiling, you see tiny bubbles. When you boil it a little more, then the bubbles get bigger. When you let it go, keep going, and you don't stop, turn the stove off, what happens to those bubbles? They get massive, and they get very violent. Now it's time to turn it off. That's the an of the boil. That's when the word an is used. When the boil reaches its worst. That's called hamimin an. So Allah says, on the one hand, they're being burnt. Then they run towards the other end, towards water, but it's the water that couldn't be any hotter. It's the an. That's poured on them, and they're forced to drink it. And it tears up their insides, and they say the dry heat was better, and they run back to Jahannam, the other side. to the fire, and they can't take the fire, and they run back to the boiling water, and they run back, and they run back, and they run back, and their life is spent eternally doing this. يَطُوفُونَ بَيْنَهَا وَبَيْنَ حَمِيمٍ آنٍ فَبِأَيِّ آلَاءِ رَبِّكُمَا تُكَذِّبَانِ. Now how ungrateful are you? Where's your attitude now? Subhanallah. Allah Azza wa Jal described this horrific scene in the hellfire for a reason. There's a purpose for which He mentioned this. The purpose is so you and I can be horrified now, instead of being horrified by seeing it. There's a favor of Allah, that He's letting us see this picture so graphically and so intensely now. And I argue, if it wasn't this graphic, and if it wasn't this intense, we would be no different than the Christians, who have no problem making cartoons about hell, about making movies like Hellboy, about people traveling to Hades and traveling to hell, having a little bit of an adventure and then coming right back out. It's all good. There's a secret passageway available. They'll make these, because it's a joke to them. It's a joke to them. It's heavy metal bands to them. Highway to Hell, flaming skulls. It's like no big deal to them. And if it wasn't described in the graphic way that it's described for us in the Qur'an, and if it wasn't made the serious matter that it's been made for us in the Qur'an, we wouldn't know. We wouldn't actually be motivated. And you know why they're not motivated for paradise? Because they don't have the description of paradise that we have.